Okay then, so this video will helpfully get you ready for the multiple choice questions for the computer basics and the digital skills unit that you've got to answer. So what I'm going to do today is just talk through some of the stuff that you need to know. It's stuff we may have discussed in class, so this is kind of revision, but there's also a few things in here that we might not have spoken about in class. So it's just an opportunity really for you to kind of get your head around some of the stuff you need to know for the multiple choice questions. So while you're watching this video, you have a worksheet to work through as well. Looks a bit like this. It might have changed by the time you actually get a copy of it. But basically there are 10 statements, each with gaps or true-false statements, and what you've got to do is you've got to fill that sheet in as you're going along. And I'll try and keep you right. I'll try and remember to tell you when to fill each bit in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is hardware. What is hardware? Basically, hardware is any part of your computing stuff, all the equipment you use, that you can reach out and touch. So for example, if I was to look at my mobile phone, this is a piece of hardware. I can touch it. In fact, it's hard. It's quite a good word for it. This is a keyboard. This is also a piece of hardware. Again, it's a hard thing. I can touch it. So that's a piece of hardware. I could also look at my laptop here. Look. It's a hard thing, I can touch it. Anything you can reach across and touch, anything that's part of the computing stuff that you're using. Oh, hang on, got some sun reflecting off the laptop there, we'll just move it again. Anything that you can touch, physically touch when you're working with computer equipment, that's called hardware. If it's a thing you can touch, it's a piece of hardware. So that's what hardware is. It's the stuff that you can touch, keyboards, mice, all that kind of stuff. So examples of things that would make up pieces of hardware are things like your keyboard, which I've shown you, the mouse, which I've shown you, your tablet. I'm recording this on my iPad, so my tablet, that's a piece of hardware. The monitor, if I was on a desktop computer and there's a monitor there, that's a piece of hardware. Let's think, my laptop was a piece of hardware. My printer's also a very important piece of hardware. These are all things you can reach out and touch. They're hard piece of equipment you can touch, okay? So, number one on your sheet, okay? It says, hardware is a part of the computing equipment that you can touch. Examples are things like your keyboard, that's the K, your mouse, that's the M, T, that's tablet, P is printer, M is your monitor, and L is the laptop. So these are things which are hardware. There's other things as well, but these are the main ones that you really need to be thinking about. So I'll give you a second to write that in. Okay, so let's talk about all this hardware then. In days gone by, in the olden days, everything was connected together by bits of wire, big lengths of cable and jumbles of cable all joining stuff together. But that was then, and this is now, and technology has moved on. And more often than not, things aren't connected with bits of cable. We've got wireless technology, we've got Wi-Fi going on, we've got Bluetooth technology, okay? This keyboard, the one I showed you earlier, this is a Bluetooth keyboard. I plug a wee dongle into my laptop and I can use this keyboard if I prefer to type on this rather than the laptop keyboard. Okay, I can use this to type into my smart TV if I want to. I can plug it in and I can type on that rather than trying to use the remote control from a smart telly. It's all wireless and it's brilliant. Now the advantages of this are that there are no cables running about the place, but there's something much more important than that. Okay, and it's this, all right? And I'm going to talk about a wireless printer specifically. In the old days, you would generally have, you might all have your laptops, then your tablets and things, and there'd be one desktop computer in the house. And that computer was connected to the printer. And if you wanted to print something, you had to go to that computer, load up the file you wanted to print, and then print it off on the printer, because that was the only machine that could use the printer, because it was wired to it. Well, nowadays it's changed. Technology has changed, like I said, and things are wireless. So now what we have is a wireless printer or network printers, and some of you will have this in your house. It's a brilliant bit of kit. It basically means you've got a wireless printer which is connected to your Wi-Fi network, and any other computer or device, phone, tablet, laptop, whatever, anything else can print to that printer as long as it's on the same network. So If we go back to your sheet, that's question 2. It says, the main advantage of a wireless printer is that anyone who's connected to the same network can use the printer. So N is network. And that's the advantage of the wireless printer. And it's brilliant. I've got one in the house myself. And I can print off my mobile phone, I can print off my laptop, I can print off my iPad, my partner can print off of all her stuff as well, and we never need to get up and reconnect to a new computer or download files and move them onto something else. You can just print it straight off your phone. And it's because we're all using the same network. So, number 2, the main advantage of a wireless printer is that anyone who's connected to the same network can use the printer. Give you a wee second to write the word network in. Okay then, let's talk now about software. We've spoken about hardware, that's the things you can touch. Let's talk about software, because without software, the hardware couldn't do anything. Software is all the programs and the apps and things that are installed onto the computer or they run off the internet that allow you to do certain jobs. So for example, Microsoft Word, that's a piece of software. Paint, that's a piece of software. PowerPoint, that's another piece of software. These are all pieces of software and they allow you to do specific things on the computer. Without them, the computer just wouldn't do anything at all. So other examples, we've got Google Chrome. That's an example of software. It's an internet browser, lets you go off and search through the internet to find things. And we've also got things like Excel. Excel lets you do number crunching. We've used that in the class before. So these are all bits of software. They're all software packages which do a specific job. And as I say, without the software, the computer's just a lump of stuff. It wouldn't do anything. It's the software that makes it work. So, number 3 on your sheet. Software is what we use to do things on the computer. Some examples are things like Word, that's the W, P, PowerPoint. Then we've got G and C, that's Google Chrome. That's an example of a piece of software. The next P is Paint, and then we've got E for Excel. So these are all just different examples of software that you could have installed on your computer. Give you a wee second to write that lot in. Okay, so the first one was Word, PowerPoint, Google Chrome, Paint, and Excel. Examples of software. Now remember, at any point you can pause this video if you're still writing down. If I start going too fast, just pause it, it's not a problem. Alright, number 4 on your sheet then. We're still going to talk about software because, again, like in hardware, how technology has moved on and very few things are all wired together using cables now, it's all connected wirelessly. Software has changed as well. Now, in the old days, I would go out to a shop and I would have to buy a CD-ROM. Okay, and that CD-ROM has the software on it. I'd bring the CD-ROM home, stick it into the CD-ROM drive of my computer, install the software, and then I can go on and use the software. But the world has changed, okay? And now almost all things are all done through the internet. So now what we do is we download software packages from the internet, and sometimes we don't even have to download them. Sometimes they actually run off the internet. Like for example, the online version of Word that we use in college is running off the internet. But there is an installed version on the computer as well, and that's when we say use the desktop version, because there's an installed version as well. But you could just run the version that's on the internet. It does more or less the same thing. It's very good. Now, talking about the internet, another word for that is the cloud. Okay, and this is called cloud computing, right? So cloud computing is where you're running apps and software just straight off the internet. You don't have to install it on your computer. It runs straight from the internet. But you can download it as well. Sometimes you, as I said in Word, you've got the online version which we can use, and we can also use the desktop version as well. So we can use that too. So this is number 4 we've just covered. Number 4 says, most software is now either downloaded from the cloud, that's the C, or runs from the cloud, there's the other C. The cloud is just another name for the internet. So go ahead and fill in question 4. There's 3 C's there, and it's cloud every time. Okay, and that's just to get you to understand that when we talk about the cloud, we're really just talking about the internet. I'll give you a second to write that in. Okay then, number 5, we're almost halfway through. We've been talking about software and how a lot of software now runs off the internet, off the cloud. Okay, we can install it from the cloud or we can run it from the cloud. Now we've spoken about Word, we've got PowerPoint, we've got Excel, we've got all these different things, Photoshop, and this one I showed you as well. This is a bit of software which you can now get off the internet. In the old days it was a CD-ROM, now download it off the internet, it's fantastic. But behind the scenes, there's software running that you don't even think about. It's just there, it just does what it does. We all know it's there, but we don't think about it. And this is called the operating system. Okay? It's like the glue that sticks all these things together and makes it all work together. Okay? Now, if you've got an Apple device, your operating system is called iOS. Okay? So iOS is the operating system for your Apple phone, your Apple tablet, your iPad, your, what's that Apple laptop called? That thing, you know, it uses iOS, okay? If you're using a normal computer, then you'll be using Windows of some kind. You know, it might be Windows ME or XP or Windows Vista, which nobody uses now. And now we're up to Windows 10. Okay, and it started years and years and years ago with very, very early versions of Windows. But every so often they update it, and that can happen because, you know, in the old days you'd buy a new CD-ROM and install it and update your Windows, but now it happens automatically. Windows updates through the cloud, through the internet. There's other operating systems as well. If you don't have an Apple phone, most other phones, like my phone here, which is a Huawei, this uses the Android operating system. The operating system. It's what's behind everything, making it all kind of work, tying it all together. So we've got iOS for Apple devices, we've got Windows for Windows devices, we've got the Android system on many mobile phones, and there's one more, there's actually other ones, but one more I'm going to tell you about, and it's called Linux or Linux. And it's like, it's almost like somebody was using Windows and thought, okay, this is good, but it's too restricted. There's too many things that I can't change in Windows. So they set about writing their own operating system, and that's called Linux or Linux. And as I say, there's other ones as well, but those are probably the 4 main ones that we need to think about. So question 5 in your worksheet is this. iOS, Android, Windows and Linux are all examples of OS. The word you're looking for are operating systems. I'll give you a wee second to write that in. Okay then, right, so we've spoken about hardware, we've spoken about software, and we've spoken about operating systems, and amongst all that, we've mentioned the cloud an awful lot. Now the cloud is becoming a more and more and more important part of everything we do with our devices these days. It's changed days from 10 years ago when everything was installed on your local hard drive, you had your own versions of software and you only went onto the internet to do certain things. Nowadays we're pretty much connected to the internet all the time, and the internet can do things to our computers and to our devices automatically without us having to ask to do it. For example, updating our operating systems or updating versions of software we've got. It kind of happens in the background. We don't really have to think about it. However, we do still have some element of control. So imagine you're in college or you're at home and you're working on something and you've created a Word document. You've got an option about how you save that Word document. Now you could save it on, let's call it the local drive of your machine, or the hard drive in your laptop. It means it's saved on your device and on your device only. So if you've saved it onto your device, you can only get it on that device. You can't then go to your mobile phone and get it because it's not saved anywhere the phone can get to. It's saved on your device, on what's called your local drive, okay? So if I was working on a PowerPoint presentation on my laptop and I finished the PowerPoint presentation and I saved it onto my own drive, I couldn't then go to work and open up a work computer and access that file because it's not on the internet. It's nowhere that that computer at work is connected to because it's sitting on the hard drive which is inside my laptop. Nobody else can get to it. And that's really important. Because again, I keep saying this, the world of computing has changed hugely. And it used to be that you would sit at your desk with your computer all wired up to printers and monitors and all that kind of stuff, and you would write a file and you'd stick it on your hard drive, and if you wanted a copy you'd stick it on a disk or a memory stick and you'd take it with you in your pocket to wherever you were going. But we don't have to do that now, because now we've got wonderful things like cloud storage. And we'll come back to cloud storage in a second, but before we do that, let's look at question 6. Question 6 in your worksheet says, true or false? If files are saved onto your own hard drive, that's sometimes called a local drive, you can access them from any internet connected device. Is that true or false? Well, we now know that it's false. If it's saved in your hard drive on your machine and your machine only, nobody else can get it unless they're on your machine because it's saved inside your machine. So the answer to that one is false. If files are saved on your local drive, on the hard drive inside your machine, you cannot get them anywhere else apart from that machine. So it doesn't matter if you've got the best smartphone with the best internet connection, you can't get that file because it's not actually on the internet. So that brings us to number 7, okay? And it says, number 7, the main advantage of storing files on cloud storage like OneDrive is that you can access them from anywhere and on any device as long as it has an internet connection. And that's the 2 words for 7. Okay, so 6 and 7, we're taking those together. If you save a file on your own hard drive, that's where it is. You can't get it from anywhere else. You have to go back onto that device with that hard drive, and that's where you access the file. But if you save that file onto cloud storage like OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Docs, if you save it there, then you can be anywhere on the planet. And as long as you've got a device like a phone or a tablet or a laptop or anything else that can connect to the internet, then you can log into your cloud storage and you can get that file back off of cloud storage and you can continue to work on it. It's brilliant. Cloud storage is fantastic and it's really changed the way that we're working now with computers. So that's 7 and 8. That's 6 and 7, I beg your pardon. The answer to number 6 is it's false. If files are saved onto your own hard drive, your local drive, you can access them from any internet connected device. That's false. You can only get them on that device you've saved it on. But number 7, if you choose to save them instead on cloud storage like OneDrive or Dropbox or whatever, then you can get them on any device that has an internet connection. I'll let you write that in and I'll come back to you. About the cloud, the internet, and as we know, the internet is full of amazing things. YouTube, we all love YouTube, okay? Facebook and social media, we love all those things, but what exactly is social media? We use this term a lot. We speak about social media all the time, but have we stopped to think what social media actually is? For example, the NHS website, is that social media? No, it's a website. It's a place where you go for information. The BBC news channel, the BBC News web page, is that social media? No, not really. You go there to read information that somebody else has posted on that website. Social media, the whole point of social media is that it's interactive. We use it to communicate with people. Now you could say, well, yeah, but the BBC News web page, that's communicating with people. Yeah, but it's communicating only one way. You're reading what they've posted. The thing with social media is it allows you to communicate back. You can have like a conversation on the internet. That's what social media is. So number 8 says, websites and applications that allow people to communicate and share information online are known as social media. So I'll let you write that one in. Social media. That's number 8. So we're talking about things like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all these other things that you guys use and that frankly I don't use all that much. TikTok's a big one that's coming on now. That's a form of social media as well. It's a platform where you can go on, you can have discussions and chat, you can post silly memes, and it's like instant contact with each other. And that's the thing about social media, is it's instant contact. Now, another form of social media is slightly different than that, and that is things like what you've done on Sway, where you have written, it's a fake holiday that we've made up, and you've written an online diary, if you like, about that holiday. You might use this particular format to write an online diary, or you might write a series of posts about a project you're doing. Maybe you're doing a big job in the garden and you have a series of posts about, you know, how that job's been going. And we call these blogs. So you've written a blog, and it was your blog about your imaginary holiday. We wrote that for this class. So that's called a blog. And if somebody creates a series of videos about a particular thing, a video diary if you like, or a series of videos about a job they're doing again in the garden, that's called a vlog. So you've got a blog, which is short for web log, and you've got a vlog, which is short for video log. So that's question 9. Social media takes many forms, from posts on Facebook and Instagram to online diaries that are sometimes called blogs, or a series of videos called vlogs. So blog is short for a weblog, and vlog is short for a video log. People that post blogs are called bloggers, and people that post videos are called vloggers. There you go. And people can make a lot of money from being a vlogger. You probably know that already. So number 9, the B is for blogs and the V is for vlogs. So that's brilliant. We've now got a really good understanding of what hardware is. We should have a good understanding of what software is, and the fact there's software running away in the background all the time. We should have a fairly good idea that software can be installed in the computer, downloaded from the internet, or it can be run from the internet. In the old days it was CD-ROMs. This is really good. We're starting to understand the advantages of using cloud computing and cloud storage rather than saving things on your local computer. It's just made computing so much more flexible. You know, we can be anywhere in the world. As long as we have an internet connected device, we can do pretty much anything, pretty much anywhere. It's really good. We've also spoken now about social media, what social media is. It's a way of communicating with people online. Loads of people use social media. I'm sure you all use it. I certainly use it a lot. But social media comes with a problem. And the problem is that people on social media tend to forget that what you post on social media can be accessed by anyone. Now you might be thinking, nah, that's not true, because I've got my Facebook posts, my Facebook profile set to private, only my friends can see it. Or I have posted videos on YouTube, but only certain people can see it. And that's absolutely true. We do have these controls over what we post online, but the problem is this. If I post some very personal information online, and a friend of mine gets it and takes a copy of that, a photo, or takes a copy of that post that I've put up, or something like that, what's to stop them sharing it somewhere else? Nothing at all. We don't have that much control. And this is one of the main problems with social media, and it's a big problem we're seeing all around the world, particularly with young people. They think that social media is a safe place to post very private, personal things. And so what happens is they post personal and private things, and before they know it, that's appearing elsewhere on the internet, and they've lost control of it. The second you post something online, you lose control of it. So if you post your address online, anybody can get that address, even though you posted it in a private forum or a private platform. Anybody can get it, because anybody else could have seen it, one of your friends could have seen it and shared it for fun somewhere. And before you know it, that's out there and anybody can get it. And then everybody knows where you live. That's a bad thing. So it's a real problem, and something we've got to watch out for. And employers use this as well. Employers will go onto your Facebook posts if you're applied for a job to see what kind of things you get up to at the weekend. So if you're applying for a job as a carer, for example, and they've went into Facebook and you've been out at the weekend getting drunk and jumping on top of cars and beating people up, they don't want people who do that working for them in a caring capacity. So what you've posted on Facebook can make a real difference to whether you get the job or not. It's not a good thing. I know of a real example where a guy posted stuff about his employer on Facebook. It was a real rant. It was really terrible. Unfortunately for him, the employer seen it, so he lost his job. He got the sack. What an idiot. But it's a really, really good point to remember. Anything you post online, even though you think you've got it nice and private and secure and you can trust the people that you're sending it to, you can't be too sure about that, okay? Somebody could get hold of that, and then it could be reappearing anywhere and you've no control over it. And so that is number 10 on your worksheet. Number 10 says, one problem with posting private information online is that A might gain access to it. And the word is anyone. You've got no control. Anyone might get access to that information you've posted online, whether it's your address, whether it's where you work, whether it's what you had for your tea last night. If you post some really personal and private stuff out there, out there, it can get out there to anyone who can get hold of it. So it's worth being very, very careful what you post. There are loads of stories, true stories, about people who've posted stuff online and they've lost control of it and it's appeared elsewhere, and before they know it, they're getting bullied or they're getting a hard time, or it's just causing real problems in their life. So really be very, very careful what you post online. So there you go, computer basics and digital skills. Those are some of the things you'll need to know. There'll be some other things in the multiple choice questions that you will know, so don't panic about it. But these are some of the things that you might need to know that we possibly haven't covered in class very well, or we've covered it but not in any great depth. So hopefully you filled in the worksheet, go through it, read through it, make sure you're familiar with it all, and when you're ready, have a go at the multiple choice questions, okay? Good luck with it. Bye now.